Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Is Nick in the shot?
No, he's not in the shot. His jacket is so shiny it's blocking the shot.
Put him in the shot.
That's where all the shine is on
Well, you want me to get up so everybody can see your coat? All right, so we're going to open the show with this.
Our new licensee in Japan. All right, that's enough.
Oh, they need to see the back of the coat.
What? The viewership dropped down after that?
Also, sir,
we're in the negative zone.
Also, sir,
can you have -5 viewers? Is that possible?
I'll need one in 4XL, sir.
So, thanks for joining us tonight. I got my buddy John here, and joining us tonight is our buddy AR Comics.
Thank God, man.
AR, you there, bud?
What's up, everybody?
Are you okay? Did your retinas burn out after seeing Nick's coat?
No.
I apologize for that. John and I, we apologize for that. We were not prepared either. I don't know.
After John's comment, I want to see the back of it now. Is
it
different on the back?
Please don't encourage him, Alan.
I'll tell you why I dig the coat.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it, bro.
I'll tell you why I dig the coat, because in a shared universe where there's a Vampirella coat, there's a red Sonia coat, and there's a Green Hornet coat, and now we're talking. I don't know if Nick heard that, but
somehow it always segues back to the Green Hornet. I don't know how you managed to do that, but
no, I'll tell you what I want to start with this week.
What do you want to start with?
Even before we get to New Comic Book Day, and it is New Comic Book Day, and we're going to get to that in 1 minute. Most of the day, I've been kind of going back and forth with Walt Giovanni, who has done like a million issues of Red Sonia,
right?
Gail Simone, and Gracie the Cosplayer, and we're going to hold her book up in just a minute or two. These are great kind of Twitter follows that you can actually interact with and find stuff out. Walt's a great guy, puts up incredible art. I mean, if you're on Twitter, you can't not know who Gail is, because Gail, basically runs Twitter now. Our friend Gracie, who will be not only is she on one of the Sonyversal covers this week, Gracie is going to be on.
Walter Giovanni has joined us.
Hey, wow! Hey, Walter, what's up?
So,
thanks for joining us. Now the show
luckily, he didn't see the coat. That's why he's here
tonight. He did not see the coat,
or he joined because he heard about the coat.
Part of a Walter is creating 2 covers. One is a Frank Thorne tribute. And this is like an Indiegogo thing. I'll post the link. Dynamite's post the link. Everybody's sort of reblogging the link, retweeting the link. Share it with everybody. He's recreating 2 very cool covers. One is, I don't know if he's recreating a Frank Thorne cover, which is amazing. And then he's doing his own sort of cover because he did so much stuff for Red Sonia, but he didn't do the covers. So now this is sort of his call back to do the covers. I couldn't wait. I jumped in. I immediately supported the project. I've got a black and white variant covering. It's me. I love black and white variants. There's a black and white variant line art that's going to be offered. I'm super excited about it. Do me a favor. If you're watching this, normally I would never say this, but take a second, go to Dynamite Comics, find the link, and support this Indiegogo project, because I got to tell you, and Gail says it herself in the video, Red Sonia has had a lot of really good runs, a lot of really good creators. The high watermark of that is Gail and Walt's run on that book. Like
what we'll do is we'll find the link for everybody and throw it up there as soon as we do. AR. So how's your week going?
It's going. It's been a pretty busy week so far, though.
Cool.
Nothing too crazy.
Comic Book Day, and then we'll
it
get
is
into
hashtag NCBD, the best day of the week, New Comic Book Day.
It really is.
Or as I call it, 2 days after I read my Dynamite Comics. But we have some really cool books coming out this week. There are so many variant covers. I'm going to have to do this a little bit at a time because, yikes, we have a lot of stuff coming out.
You're farther away from the camera tonight, too.
Well, we have images for this. We have to have images for this.
I'm not sure.
You have an image? What?
I know.
We have issue 8 of Sonyversal coming out, and we have really cool covers. You know what? You can actually go to YouTube, and Nick does like a slow breakdown of these. I'm not going to try to go through every artist who's done these. They're just really. Lucio Perillo has one. My personal favorite this week, which I made sure to grab a copy of, and I mentioned this on Twitter just about 20 minutes ago, was Gracie the Cosplayer. Now, I've followed her for quite some time on social media. I used to pester Nick, not that I don't think I had anything to do with it, but I used to pester Nick about how she was the quintessential Red Sonia cosplayer,
Right,
and Nick
right.
would do his usual, thanks, John, I appreciate it, keep buying the books and shut up, and I don't blame him. And here she is. Here she is on the cover. We know she's going to be on the cover of Hell Sonia, because that's maybe the most insane cosplay we've seen anyone do for Sonia. And she's going to be on the Indiegogo project. There's going to be, I think, a variant of one of those tiers. There's a what's what I'm looking for, like a photo cosplay cover, and Gracie's on that too. I hope we have. If we don't have links for this, we'll try to put stuff up after the show. I don't want to kind of slow down the whole show tonight. But first book, Soniaversal. This thing is just Soniaversal, Vampyverse. I've been, everybody knows I've been a fan of Dynamite for a long time. Dynamite first started with something called Altered States, and it was the beginning of the step into like the alternate reality what if world, which is like my favorite thing. Right. Altered States in and of itself didn't come back, but we got Soniaversal, and then we got now Vampyverse. Before that, we had Crisis on Infinite Betties. So Dynamite has really sort of showed you a multiverse of versions of the character. I would be willing to guess at some point, if I can pester Nick and pester Dave Avalone, we can probably get some sort of Infinite Elvira thing going on. Elvira's from different ages or whatever.
Well,
it's a lot of fun.
Let's find out from AR. So, AR, what do you see is hot coming out today?
Today, I wouldn't. There's nothing to me. Actually, I got all my books right here. Out of all the books, I'm not sure I don't think Dynamite's done any work with him, but I know he does a lot for Source Point Press. Is Frank Goggle? He just came out with a new series called Unborn, and I thought it was fantastic. I like all the stuff he does, but to me, this one, it kind of had a mix of like Power Rangers, a little bit of Alien, and The Thing, kind of all wrapped in one.
Oh, that's kind of funky.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's funky.
It wasn't like a horror book or anything, but to me, it just had a lot of elements that reminded me of all of those stories, and it just flowed really well together. The artwork was awesome too. But as far as like, I don't know, maybe like a big hot book, I thought Something Is Killing the Children, fantastic series as always. Department, that one from James Tynion, that one was kind of more of, it's set up where the story was going to be going. And then Something Is Killing the Children, that was more, it gave a bigger breakdown of what's kind of going on in the series. Like if you're reading it at all, at least you've seen Erica Slaughter, how she has the black mask on. In this issue, they kind of talk about all the different color masks and what they all signify. Gotcha. So it gives like a little depth to the story now. And it's really cool.
That does sound cool. So to start off the show, we're going to do our Dynamite 10-pack real quick.
We're not doing 2 comic books today.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Dude, you work here. You should know this. Next book up is issue 3 of Dija Thoris versus John Carter of Mars. This is just a great, great book. If anything, they made Dija Thoris probably a more interesting character than John Carter. And 20-year-old me would be like, that's not possible. And now, much, much, much older me, Pop me is like, I'm so glad. Because I think we've seen everything of John Carter. And I'm not really referencing like the Disney movie from a few years ago. But if you're a pulp fan, if you've read John Carter over the years, you've kind of seen everything. You get it. You get the idea.
So you've met Edgar Rice Burroughs, right?
I used to babysit that kid. I had no idea that. It's nice to see Dija Thoris get top billing. Dija Thoris has appeared in some of the really good stuff. Her appearance in Dynamite was just maybe like the most emotional moment in that series, where she's got to decide, is she going to kill her zombified husband? She's looking through with like the big Martian rifle. And,
Right.
as much as I love John Carter, I'm screaming, shoot! As I'm reading the book, I'm like, I'm sorry, family.
Nice.
I tell my family, my friends, my spouse this. I don't care if we've rolled together for 30 years. You become a zombie. No, it's Zombieland. You get the double tap, and then I just move along sadly.
That's assuming they don't eat John's brains first.
Well,
it's assuming a lot.
In the zombie world, I'm Otis from The Walking Dead, right? They don't have to be faster than the zombies. They have to be faster than me. So they put one in my leg, I fall down, and then the zombies get me, and everybody else takes off.
That's a very good plan. I'm going to keep that in mind
Merle
in case
does
zombie
that.
apocalypse.
No, Merle
occurs.
does that in the beginning of the series. He's like, sorry, Otis. And Otis even kind of understands. He's like, I got it. I get it. Last book we have before we kind of get into things we've pinched from Nick's office to sell without his knowledge. Vengeance of Vampirella. Tom Stigowski at his best. I mean, Tom Stigowski has been doing this, I'm going to guess, for 22 years writing Vampirella. I've been reading Vampirella for 40 years, and I don't know if anyone has done consistently better. I mean, yeah, sure, there's great, really good stories, really good runs, like 4-issue runs or whatever. I honestly don't know if anyone has had the kind of run, the stretch of the legs, as my old man used to say, that Tom has. Doesn't matter what artist he's working with. It doesn't matter. We've talked about this before. There's a couple different versions of Vampirella. There's like the more serious one. And there's sort of like the little, almost what I call the Dave Stevens Vampirella. A little wink, a little fun, a little bit more lighthearted. It doesn't matter. Dave hits all the, Tom hits all those gears. It does not matter. A little bit later, speaking of Dave, a little bit later, we little birdie told us Dave really wanted some books without trade dress, shall we say? And
What books do you speak of without trade dress? What do you mean?
See, I have no problems calling them virgin covers. I understand that's a problem, so I don't want to do it. But
but
we're going to show those. We're going to show those a little bit later.
We definitely have those. We have remarks.
Because I don't need a ton of that, and I've got Library Kid in my my Instagram mentions. They want to see
Dave,
the $6 Million Man, which I love, the $6 Million Man. So all he had to do was ask. So. If you're watching the show, here I am telling Rex, $6 Million Man, maybe like a whole row, preferably with Alex Ross trade dressless covers.
Did we put one on tonight?
I don't know if we put one on tonight. Maybe we'll have to do it next time.
We had one last time, though. I thought.
We did have one last time, and I got to tell you, they just...
Well, we'll get into Alex Ross.
We'll get into Alex Ross a little bit later, but
just to start off the show, we're going to do. Did I give it to you? I gave it to you, right? The 10-pack.
Oh yeah, we're going to do the 10-pack. I love these things. We're going to do them every episode.
Yeah, it's something that we can obviously
until the wind whistles through the storehouse of emptiness.
Wow, that was deep, John. But the Dynamite 10-pack readers pack, you'll get 10 Dynamite titles. They will be random. And a $40 cover price, retail cover price for 10. So you're looking at $40 worth of books. And we're going to do it for $5. And we're going to try to run this every show. Couple of reasons to get, if you're not a comic reader, to get you started. If you haven't picked up Dynamite titles, kind of get you started. And at 50 cents a copy, you can't go wrong. I know we've
hell of a deal.
Pick them up along the way. Just some of them as gifts. Some of them just.
The idea here, hopefully, is we get people interested in the books, and we're only putting one issue into each thing, right? So somebody grabs, and it's going to be different for each person, but I'm just using this as an example. Miss Fury Dynamite number 1. This issue could be in there, right? Well, now you want to see the story. Of course, doesn't end. Hopefully, it sends people to their local comic book store,
right? Which
is super important to the industry to support whenever you get a chance, and pick up Miss Fury number 2. You heard us talking about different runs of Red Sonia. Go to your local comic book store and find the Gail Simone, Walter Giovanni run. I've been reading Red Sonia also for about 30 plus years.
Man, you are old.
I am old. I've been reading this stuff when I bought the book, Frank Thorne drew it. But the best run I've seen of Red Sonia, no disrespect to any other creators, is that stretch where it's Gail Simone and Walter Giovanni. And go find this. You can find these things at your local comic book store. They appreciate your patronage. The creators appreciate the support.
And we say it every show. I mean, definitely get out there, support your local comic book shop.
Please.
Ultimate and small business, and they are the foundation with which the industry continues.
Yeah,
to
I mean
grow.
that's where it starts. It starts with spinner racks, and then it starts with comic book store. I mean, we're talking about 40 plus years,
right?
And now, let's be honest. I saw a statistic, and I throw this out there not to bring the room down, but just to put it in context. Half of all comic book retailers east of the Mississippi have closed in the 21st century, from 99 to 2019. I think that's not great.
No,
I'd like to think all those stores moved out west, but they probably didn't.
No.
Stores in our area have closed. They've relocated. They've gone virtual. And I understand. I get it. Retail's hard, especially now, but it's really important to support those stores.
Brick and mortar stores have been shifting. Obviously people's buying patterns have shifted, but I think, unlike maybe going to a physical mall that, we used to hang out at when we were young, it's now, for a lot of industries, it's not the end of the world, but I think there's something lost when it happens to your local comic book shop. There's a gathering of like minds, if you will. And once that's gone, that's gone. Yeah, you can buy stuff online. You can, but and I kind of think that's what we're trying to do here. I think I know a lot of AR shows, it's sort of the same thing. AR, dropping knowledge on everyone in terms of what's hot, what's not.
Just the discussion itself, you know what I mean? Everybody remembers having these great discussions at the comic book store on comic book day.
Right.
Sometimes you would run in 10 minutes before they close. Sometimes you'd get there 10 minutes after they open. And you'd always be excited to talk to the guy at the comic book store, even though that person was super busy on new comic book day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You would go and you would pick up your pull list. And the number of times, I sat in my truck with my pull list, and I was just super happy with, like a hot chocolate or a hot coffee, you know what I mean? Just reading. Those are sort of the things I think that get lost a little bit. And
I agree. I agree. And I'm hoping, I think that when we invite AR on, you're here, we're trying to, and our viewers, in the chat room, we're trying to reproduce that to the best that we can. It's never going to be quite the same, but again, I think the world has shifted.
Yeah, things have changed.
It really has.
Because of the pandemic, and things have just changed. You know what I mean? I don't know. We have a lot of people buying comics digitally now. And people have asked me like that. I don't have any problems with people buying comics digitally. If that's easier, great. You know what I mean? I always recommend going to your comic book store. There's a certain fun to having a physical comic in your hand to, bag and board or whatever. But, I get it. For some people, life, maybe their life on the road, and they kind of need to hit the digital versions. The important thing is that the form, the art form, keeps getting that support and new energy, new cycles.
Right. I know. I completely agree with you.
Well, that's what when AR does the show, he's sort of telling people it's the nudge on the train, hey, check this out. Hey, check this out.
No, exactly. So, all right. So what do we want to do first? How about
what we talked about?
Those remarks down there are awesome looking.
They aren't they?
The remarks down there.
We want to start with the remark tonight.
Yeah, let's start with the remark. This is a great idea.
Well, let's AR. You want to pick one? Since he called the remarks, let him pick.
Yeah. I like that idea.
I'm gonna be honest. The images that I got are a little. They're not loading too well on my side, but
no worries.
The deceased one in the middle. That's the one that's caught my eye.
A good one. Let's do that one. What do you think, boys?
Sure.
Let's do that one. All right. So, deceased number 1, sign and remark by Ken Hazer with a zombie Harley Quinn sketch.
This is really nice.
Well, I love his stuff. I mean, we talk about it every single time, but I mean, the artwork and the attention to detail that Ken uses. But suggested retail of $89.99. Tonight we're going to do it for $50, and we have one available at that price. We talk about remarks and how it's kind of developed into its own collectible market. I mean, it's separated itself from normal comics, and it's separated itself from original art. I mean, let me ask you, AR. I mean, how?
And that's the wrong picture.
What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance. That's not the right. That we did that image We did
I was
that book
gonna say-
Monday.
Yeah, I think
The
so.
Batman DC.
Yeah, I think so.
The one
So-
tonight is the Harley Quinn DC.
What are you seeing with remarks, AR?
I'm personally a fan of them. I think it depends on what the book is. Like I collect blank sketches because my thought is you never know if like maybe a random con in your area pops up and then an artist shows up and you just happen to have that blank sketch cover. So I kind of collect
Right.
them because you never know. But personally, if you know, like say the slabs up top, like the ones that Captain America Falcon, if I got it signed, I'd be really happy about that. But I don't know if I would want to remark on something like that because depending on what the remark is and depending on who does it, sometimes they really like to color on the book itself and it kind of takes away from, you know, the front cover. So that's why me personally, I like to hang on to the blank sketches. I usually don't get actual books remarked unless if it's, I
Right.
think Al Ewing, I have a book signed by him and I think it's also remarked and it's just like a tiny little Hulk face off to the side. So that's a little
Right.
different, but I guess it
No,
all depends on what
and
it
I
is.
think I think you bring up a very important point is that even within the world of remarks, it's kind of shifted. What remarks originally were a line sketch on an existing cover, but now it's kind of evolved into
It's almost like a
specific
commission
variant.
to a certain extent.
Right,
where
like what you're looking at here
We
is a
talk about this,
variant blank cover.
it's original art. It's a signature. It's commission.
Exactly.
It's sort of drawing from different.
Exactly. So we got Dave. John was just talking about you, Dave. Dave is asking if we have any vegan covers on that shelf today, and we
We
do.
absolutely do.
I believe that we do, sir. We
have
always
vegan,
have.
We also have vegan covers of the books this week.
Those released by Dynamite today. So we have a bunch of those as well. But let's go to. You want to go to a vegan cover next?
Sure. You know what? We'll go to a break. Not now, but when we go to a break, we'll pull some of the vegan covers for this week, books and stores this week.
All right. So let's see. What do we got there that would qualify? Let's see. There we go.
Here we go. Oh man, Stephen Mooney did such a great job on this. This is Turok Dinosaur Hunter number 2. Without its trade dress.
That'd be cool to kind of revamp the Turok. I know the original series is kind of a joke amongst a lot of collectors, or like, is this book valuable? It's usually, I don't know. It's like when people post, was it Dark Hawk, and they're always saying, "Oh, I got a golden book here." It's kind of a joke, but Turok is pretty sweet.
Turok has been through a couple iterations. I mean, like you know, we saw him as like a gold key character. You know, he's pretty one-dimensional. Valiant in the 90s, I guess, sort of had some gold key characters.
Right.
And I think that's the first time you saw Turok what he could be. Right.
So
and then Dynamite sort of, you know, picks up from there after Valiant sort of closes shop. It's first time.
all right. So we have Turok Dinosaur Hunter number 2.
Is there an image for this?
I'm not sure. High-end Stephen Mooney Virgin Ultra Limited, and it has a suggested retail of $100. And tonight, this is one of our perfect 10 reads at $10. So good call on Dave's part. So we have one available at $10.
Yeah, it's a sweet cover.
Yeah,
That's a
it
sweet
totally
cover
is.
at
Yeah,
$10.
sitting there with his shooting the pterodactyl with the arrow.
like
But as
it.
you say, I mean, Stephen Mooney, you know, get an opportunity to get something without any trade dress on it is
Well,
not.
he did Half Past Danger, which is an amazing book. Now he's doing Benny Page, Curse of the Banshee.
Right.
And not only does he write the book, but I think one of the variant covers he draws. Just, you know, really, he's one of those guys where, like, his name isn't the first name that's mentioned in a conversation of creators.
Right.
And then the second you mention him, everyone's like, oh my God, yeah, it's, you know, he's a little bit more low key, not quite so in your face, but his work is like top shelf.
So Turok Dinosaur Hunter number 2, high-end Steve Mooney ultra limited cover, suggested retail of $100, and it is our first perfect 10 read at $10 for the night.
Yeah,
So-
that's
It's a great price for it.
Say again.
That's a great price. It's a really cool cover.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we do, with Dynamite, we try to do the best price possible to get it into readers' hands and collectors' hands. We're big fans, obviously, when the trade dress is gone, you get to see the whole cover. What it was.
you basically see what the creator saw on his or her board. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? It's this great image where, let's be honest, you don't get to see that too often. if you collect or even check out original art on something like Comic Car Fans, wherever, yeah, sure, you see these images.
Right.
But I think for the most part, most comic book fans don't do that. They buy their books. They're used to the trade dress. It is what it is. This is a great way for you to see what the artist saw on his or her board.
So AR, tell me what your impression is of comics, variant covers, especially ones without the trade dress.
Honestly, it depends. So I've got a lot of kind of different opinions on this. So for example, Marvel, they release a ton of books every single week. Some of these books are just a limited run, like 4 or 5 issues. And sometimes they have a lot of different covers for it. And for a series that really isn't too popular amongst a lot of fans, or, I mean, some people obviously like it, but you don't hear a lot of talk about it. Like, it's not Thor, it's not Hulk. Like the last one was Reptile. I don't know really anybody that talks about Reptile, but for the fact that it's got 4 or 5 different covers, I don't know about that. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of a ton of covers. The difference is, at least with Dynamite, is that you focus on certain characters and you focus on certain releases every single week. And you don't have 20 different books that now have 20 different covers. You put a lot of focus into the story, and then you make a lot of different covers for that specific story.
Well, when you're Marvel, I mean, when you can pretty much just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Are they still printing those comics? Are they still in that business?
Are they still in that? I mean, it's all video now.
I don't know. It's crazy with Marvel. The books, to me, they've tremendously dropped off. Like, today I picked up from Marvel, I think it was Miles Morales and Thor, 2 characters that I absolutely love. Right. And it's no disrespect to Saladin Ahmed, who's on Miles Morales, or Donnie Cates, who's on Thor, because I do really enjoy both of those series. But the Miles Morales issue today, it had nothing to do with anything. It was complete filler with a couple small backup stories that still had nothing to really do with anything. It might be a setup a little bit where Miles is, trying to get back he's trying to go on a date with Starling, the other character, but nothing happens. And then Thor with Donnie Cates we're on the 17th issue now, and it feels like we haven't done anything for the last 12 or 13 issues. But these are 2 series that, I mean, I actually really love Miles, the series. It's been fantastic. But with Thor, there's so many covers sometimes, and these issues are just, I don't think they're that good. Just my opinion. But I don't know. It's everything from Marvel. It just seems to have dropped off a lot.
That's interesting. I mean, I think you both touched on some interesting points. Is how much is the movie TV end of it?
I think that's the thing. I think the creative energy is going into video games.
Look at
social media when a new update for Marvel Avengers drops.
Right.
It trends worldwide for half the day because Hawkeye has a new skin in the game, right?
And maybe they figure they can just print out the comics and titles.
And I think the comics, to a certain extent, are, you know what I mean? They have to find a balance. For example, today, it's not a coincidence that What If comes out on New Comic Book Day. Right. Loki came out on New Comic Book Day. They're hoping to sort of, synergize a little bit, and I think AR makes the point. I don't think they're quite there yet.
Oh my gosh, you could. All right, so we've got our friend Rockin' Robbie on the chat boards.
Nice.
I don't know if you caught Monday's show, AR, but
stop.
I'll talk about it when we come back from break. I realize we're overtime.
Yeah, we need to go to break.
Kyle, if you would take us to break, please, and I'll explain what happened on Monday's show when we get back.
Hi, I'm Brian Haberlin, and I want to tell you a little bit about my new book coming out in October, Hellcop. Hellcop's been rattling around my brain for decades. When I launched Avalon Comics with Whilce Portacio, Hellcop was one of the initial launches, but I was wearing a lot of hats back then. So I gave over the reins to Joe Casey and Gilbert Monsanto, and they did a great job, but it was my baby. If you look at sketchbooks I've done over the years, there's Hellcops throughout. There are pages started, stories started. So let me tell you a little bit about the story. Discovering a whole new world that had only previously existed in our collective imaginations. A tale of adventure, betrayal. Hell's just another place, another planet with native creatures most on Earth would call monsters. And humans that have been there as long as they've been here. Doctors, lawyers, maybe too many lawyers. Please join me in October for the release of Hellcop and the Hellcop 3D Halloween special. Hey, I want to say thanks for watching, and I really hope you can go and ask your retailer to pick up Hellcop for October. There's going to be a 3D version with 3D glasses and the whole 9 yards, and the regular version, of course, too, with some pretty fun covers. Thank you for your attention, your support, as always, and hope you guys have a great day.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
All right, and we're back. All right, so real quick. So on Monday's show, I thought I had until tomorrow before I had to swallow any serious crow, but apparently Robbie has decided he doesn't want to wait until tomorrow. And how about them Cowboys? So it turns out, yes, unbeknownst to me, I found out last Friday that Robbie was a Dallas Cowboy fan.
That is a shame. I actually like his
Thank
videos.
you, AR. Thank you.
He seems like a nice guy.
He does, doesn't he?
But not anymore.
Very knowledgeable about comics, very knowledgeable about pop culture. In my opinion, doesn't know a great deal about football, but that's just me. But unfortunately, I had to eat a lot of crow because the birds look, and I'll be the first one to say it looked horrible. They could not stop the Dallas offense. Let's say it. Let's just call it out. The Dallas offense is not that deadly that we could not even stop, and they ran right over us. We didn't run the ball. They didn't help Jalen Hurts, but I digress because I could go on for 3 hours about that. But
we looked real bad.
Yeah, they looked real bad.
Play calling was
that's
horrible.
Right. You're from this area originally, right?
Yeah.
So you're a Birds fan, right?
Absolutely.
They look horrible. So the next time we talk football, I'll be talking to my buddy AR. Robbie, you're out. Okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Oh my God!
I couldn't even believe it. I saw him with the big Dallas star on his jersey when we were doing our show on Friday, and
next week this is going to be Amy and I sitting here talking about Quidditch.
Is he from Dallas?
And it looks like Kyle started Jalen Hurts in fantasy. I actually sat him because I have Patrick Mahomes, who they did lose. So I'll be really torn Sunday because they play Kansas City. Hoping Andy Reid's all right, but that I'm going to be really torn because I need my boy Mahomes to jack up some numbers so I can win. I am undefeated 3-0. I just want to say for anybody that cares, which is probably no one.
We have -3 viewers. Thanks.
And we got Robbie. Ha ha ha. Okay, thank you, Robbie. We'll talk tomorrow, buddy. Okay, you watch. We'll talk tomorrow. But all right, let's move on to another book.
Man, that's just I was having such a good day.
Not, sir.
Tuesday was rough, but it just it brought it all back.
Oh my gosh, it was painful to watch, dude. It really was painful to watch. All right, so let's do something high end. Let's talk about a legendary creator. Let's do Daredevil number 25, variant, second printing variant signed by Frank Miller. And let's talk about legendary Frank Miller for a second. I mean, he redefined so many things. Daredevil, Batman. I mean,
we've referenced this a little bit before, right? There, you can feel, and I love this analogy, even though it's not quite right. You can feel when there's a disturbance in the force, right? When a creator hits with something new. And I remember the first time I experienced it, I was really young, is when I saw Roy Thomas and Neil Adams on the X-Men. I'm like, whoa, the book now totally looks different. The character's different, the deal is different. A lot of times it's artists, sometimes it's the writer, though. In the case of Claremont, in the case of Miller, Miller was both the writing and the art, but it serves notice, well, everything's going to be different now. Like, we're out of everything that's come before Miller, and now everything that's come after Miller, whether it's Daredevil, whether it's Dark Knight, whether it's some of the less over books like Martha Washington Goes to War or something like this. Everything the guy does, everything he touches, he just sort of moves the needle. Reminds me very much of Howard Chaykin. Dave Stevens did it before he left us too soon.
So real quick, let me just throw the price out there. So suggested retail of $299.99, and we're doing it for $181 for Daredevil number 181, where Elektra was killed by Bullseye. So, and we have one copy at this price, and it is hand signed by Frank Miller. Is it limited?
They've only signed 25 of these.
So only 25 were ever hand signed by Frank Miller. And we have one tonight at $181.
And this one is number 4 of 25 for the kind of people, for the people that need to know what the number is.
So
the cover of Elektra is Daredevil. They've done it in a few other sort of what if type stories. Not any knock against Matt Murdock, but if you read like all the Miller work, the idea of Elektra becoming Daredevil at the quote unquote end of the story is super appealing, and it's appropriate. It's really appropriate.
So an opportunity to get Frank Miller. I mean, we've talked about cons and stuff. I mean, they're slowly coming back. But you had brought up a good point on one of the previous shows, John. It's so sporadic. Each state and even city.
It's
could have its own rules.
Like a con in Denver is running under different rules than a con in Chicago. Plus, you have some of our beloved creators, and I hate to say this, I'm not trying to bring the room down, but some of our creators, I mean, they're getting older. They're not. No, you're right. Miller is not hitting as many cons now as he was 20, 25 years ago. We've had some creators that have sort of said, I'm good. I've done all the cons I'm going to do. I've done all the signing I'm going to do. I want to sit here and have my second cup of coffee.
Well, John Romita Sr.
John Romita Sr. And they're entitled to that. I mean, let's be honest. I'm in my 50s. These guys for 5 decades, in some cases more, have created, this amazing art form that we all love and embrace. So just like any sort of artist, creator, performer, if you want to keep going, great. If you decide you wanted to call it a day, Jerry Ordway mentioned in a Twitter chat, he keeps working because he can and he really enjoys it. Jim Stranko, he does these Sunday chats, and he's like, I still mess around with stories and pencils or whatever, and I do it because I can. Other creators are like, oh, you know what? I'm going to enjoy my retirement. I've earned it.
So Dave jumped in with an important thing about that issue is that Elektra keeps going as Daredevil for several issues. That's a very good point. So it's significant, certainly a significant issue from a storyline standpoint. But hand signed by Frank Miller. I would suggest if you claim this tonight, you want to pick up a reader's copy, because this one has been signed by Frank Miller. But AR, what are you seeing with cons? I mean, are you going to one anytime in the future?
That's what I would probably do.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I'm not going to be coming home for the New York one like I thought I was. So maybe next year. But Oklahoma is doing a small one. I don't know how small it is anymore. It's called OFCon. And that's actually going to be this weekend. And it's pretty big for Oklahoma. I went to it a couple of years ago. They canceled last year because of COVID. But a couple of years ago when I went, that was my first kind of experience at a bigger con. And the books that were there, I couldn't believe I was witnessing, especially just a small little hotel area in Oklahoma. But they had, Incredible Hulk 1, Amazing Fantasy 15, all these other huge key books. And it was just a really cool experience. So it's interesting.
Well, next week you'll have to let us know. Give us a report on the con and how it went. And,
because we're actually really looking for that first person feedback, like someone who's been to Terrific Con or whatever con. Like, what was it like? How many creators were there? I remember a con just recently, creators sort of like it. I don't want to say at the last minute because that gives them a bad rap, but like the week before, they were like, "We just wanted to let you know we're probably going to opt out." And anybody who's been to a con knows this is something you plan more than a week in advance.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe a small con in your hometown, like let's jump in the car and go over there. If I'm going to C2E2, I'm not. I'm not doing it on the last minute.
We're all hoping that it's going to come back. Obviously these are challenging times. But yes, we'd definitely be interested in hearing your impressions and what it was like. How are the crowds? The creators that are there, because as John brought up, some of these creators are getting older, and obviously for health reasons, they have to be careful.
Yeah, some of the people too, they're in that group where the health authorities are like, hey, look, you should be wearing a mask and be really careful everywhere. Like, stay at home.
Right.
You know what I mean? There are people, I have older relatives in their 70s and 80s, and their doctors are like, look, just, have your groceries delivered, stay home.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So,
you know what I wanted to mention real quick, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
When we have some of these higher priced items, and we talk about this all the time, but when we have some of these higher priced books, there's always going to be some option for a payment plan.
Yeah.
Right, because we've done books that are $50, we've done books that are $10, we've done books that are $500. The higher level books, there's always going to be some option for a payment plan.
Yes, absolutely. And when Kyle gets a chance, he'll throw my email up. If you're interested in one of the higher priced books, reach out to us. We'll work with you. We'll make it work for everybody.
Yeah.
Whatever we can do to help the fans out. Especially on something like this. And sometimes we have John Romita Senior's autographs up there, which are getting up there in price as well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We've had stuff up there before that's a little, people tune into the show $30, $40, $50, $70. It's great.
Right.
When we bust out something that's $300, $400, $500, people are like, oh well,
So all right, so let's hit one of the CGC books.
Super quick.
We have a Marvel Premiere #1, CGC graded 7.0. And we have it tonight for $149. Is that right, Amy? Is that a 9?
Oh,
That's a good book to have.
My bad.
This
Wait.
is
$395.
Warlock is $395, but since there was a little bit of a mistake, we'll drop it to $375 and do a payment plan.
So,
Okay.
All right. So Marvel Premiere #1, CGC graded 7.0. My mistake. We're doing it for $375 tonight, $375, and we will do a payment plan for anybody that might be interested.
I was about to say,
Okay.
for $150, I was about to have to buy that one.
Yeah, well, listen, hey, we'll put you on a payment plan too. But this was a last-minute add-on that literally we got, I think, yesterday.
That's
And we
awesome.
decided, we got it in hand yesterday, so we decided, why not? Let's throw it up on the show.
Well, if you watched, and not like a spoiler alert here because it's only like a brief second, but if you watched What If this week, you see a scene.
You did at 3 a.m. in the morning.
It was a little bit later. It was like 4 something. There's a scene
You're
where
slacking.
the Sovereign is under attack, and if you look over to the side, kind of try to pause it and catch, you have to do it. I'm pretty sure Adam Warlock is there fighting with the Guardians of the Galaxy against.
Ooh, now I'm going to have to look.
Well,
Now I have to rewatch it. Are you kidding me?
They've already told you last week that the kind of season finale villain is Ultravision or Vision Ultron, however you kind of want to look at it. It's essentially Ultron and Vision's body with the Infinity Stones. And they show how he sort of
There's
cruises.
some plot holes in that, just my opinion.
There's a lot of it, but you kind of see where, and maybe I'm mistaken, maybe I'm reading too much into it, because the people from the Sovereign have a similar appearance. But just watching it, and I rewound it again and watched it rewound the third time, I'm like, I'm wondering, is that supposed to be Adam Warlock, like fighting with them? So maybe it's just a little Easter egg. I mean, you know how Marvel sort of likes to drop. But when I got here and I saw this, I'm like, I don't know if that was a last-minute add-on or.
And this is what happens.
But he should definitely be in the next Guardians, right? I set that up.
I feel like he has to be.
There. I understand that sometimes.
What do you think, AR?
I was going to say, I feel like he has to be, kind of the way that they were hinting and really set it up at the end,
Well,
but I guess they can go any direction with it.
Well, this is what I deal with, AR. While I'm hard at work and sweat on my brow.
Hard at work. It's fantasy football for you. I looked at your computer.
Hey, I'm in
That's
first
hard
place,
work.
John. That's not easy to achieve, my friend. Okay, That's hard work, man. Okay. While these two are talking about the latest episode of whatever it is that they're watching, okay, and go into a detailed analysis, I would suggest you guys start watching AR shows. Okay.
I think when
because you guys need some more knowledge.
I think this is a comic book
Watch both.
business. I think in the morning when you guys get here, there should be a little bit of breakfast, and you put it on as a company, and you watch. What If.
Well, Amy brings breakfast for herself, but not for everybody else. You know, she's like that. I'm still waiting for you to make breakfast for us, or lunch, or anything.
The publisher of this company has asked that I not bring a mobile kitchen into here and start serving food.
Who asked him?
I did, because he's
Why? Well, that was your first mistake. Okay, you want to talk to the troops.
I've only asked him two
Guys,
things.
wave your hands because Dave thinks we're still talking about What If, and we're not. We're done for right now.
We're done for right now.
For now.
I guess Dave's not a fan.
No, he's probably trying to avoid spoilers.
Ah.
Yeah, he's trying to avoid
Roger,
it.
I see it now.
Sorry.
I see it. Sorry,
Talk about
Dave.
commercial.
This is what I deal with on a daily basis, my friend. All right, so let's go to another comic. What do you think?
Hey, super quick though.
I guess.
All right, you know what? AR got to pick one, so John, you get to pick one. Pick a good one.
You know, I do want to pick a good one. You know what?
You want to go to?
I always gravitate
Go for
towards Dynamite books, but I really, some of the prices
That
we
Peach
have on
Momoko?
some of these slab books are just, you are not going to get these. I know maybe it sounds like hype, but you were just not going to find these prices. This is Vampirella, The Dark Powers. This is a story that I imagineered like 10 years ago while reading the Superpowers, Project Superheroes. And I really, really, really wanted to see those characters interact with characters like Red Sonia and Vampirella, and that just wasn't going to happen. And then until it did.
So Vampirella, Dark Powers #1, Peach Momoko, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8. We suggested retail of $89.99, and we have it tonight for $52 for 52 years of Vampirella. And I want to welcome. Let's see, we got 62 Lefty joining us again, and he's going to get his shots in too. So Rex, who won Monday night? I don't know. I didn't watch the game. I have no idea. 62 Lefty. I didn't watch the game. Okay, be careful. I'm just saying, Lefty. All right.
I don't even know if I watched the game. I don't know what I was watching.
He bleeds green just like me. Originally from the area, so be careful there, Lefty. I love that 62 Lefty blues.
Also, I always like to say this particularly with something that's Dynamite. If you don't pick up this slab book, totally get it. However, go to your local comic book store, find the back issues.
Yes.
There's two stories that run concurrently with Project Superpowers. One is Vampirella, The Dark Powers, and one is Red Sonia, Superpowers. And I got to tell you, those books are amazing stories.
Well, here's the other thing, and we've talked about this before, how backed up CGC is. And, obviously we do a lot of business with CGC in terms of getting books slabbed, and, we're definitely seeing the delay. And I know Dave, I think maybe it was Monday or a previous show.
I think Robbie mentioned it too, right?
Yeah, I know that Dave said that he had sent books in April and just got them
and
the
just
other
got
day.
them back. There's like a 3, 4, 5-ish month backlog.
And, again, this is 9. The voice from behind the curtain said 9.
Was Nick saying no in German? Or
Who knows? Is that veggie sandwich again? It's getting lightheaded. But we've talked about it, and this is not in any way bashing CGC. They're caught in the same problem. I mean, you got 60 cargo ships at the port in LA.
Yeah,
waiting for
everybody's
dock
backed
space.
up. Everybody's short of staff. People are kind of getting a little bit short-tempered. This is a time to kind of take a deep breath and realize everybody is sort of, you call your insurance company with it because you have a question. You're going to wait on hold longer. You know what I mean? The person you're talking to might be a new hire. They might be a part-time hire. To a certain extent, I'm glad somebody is there. I went and had a blood test today. I was glad people were there at the local office. I'm living in South Jersey. I'm old enough to remember if you needed to get a blood test in a small town like Mount Laurel, you had to go to Lake Trenton.
Mount Laurel's not a small town anymore, my friend.
Well, it's a sleepy farm hamlet.
John's old enough to remember blood test when they first discovered blood tests are important.
Actually, I was going to use a stone and chisel example.
No,
but
it's true though. I remember people in this area Maple Shade, whatever, if they needed to see a specialist or whatever, they would shoot down to like Atlantic City or something, or Philadelphia. We're super fortunate to have our comic book stores still open. Those people who are still working, still on the lines, whether in the service industry, I would ask everyone, please be patient.
Yes.
I don't care if it's your local comic book store. I don't care if it's your local bakery.
Everywhere.
And CGC. I mean, it sounds like we kind of bag on them a little bit, and everybody bags on CGC when they get a book back lower than they.
Yeah, right.
This is an 8. This is an 8. No, it's a 6. And you bag on CGC. Everybody's done it. Everybody who's ever sent in a book has done it. But
I bag on them.
It's inevitable.
Yeah,
but this really, I kind of look at it this way. This really isn't their fault.
No.
It is an overwhelming rate of submission, probably due to COVID, and then you're having trouble staffing up. And
they issued a statement that they were significantly
yes,
less
I read that. Yeah,
in 2020 than they had in 2019,
and increasing the workspace area. I think they said they recently opened a 21,000 square foot facility to try to
now for being honest,
for months and months.
Yes, being honest. Yeah, I mean,
no, I was gonna say, for being honest, it is their fault because they're not willing to say, we need to take a hiatus from accepting stuff. So they keep digging themselves in this bigger hole. They keep having more and more signature series events. So they're kind of doing it to themselves. I can't blame them. They're a business, a very, very successful business. So if they stop, that means CBCS is going to get all of the business, and they can't do that to themselves. So I totally get it, but at the same time, they are kind of digging themselves in their own hole. But since we are talking about how backed up they are and return times, I've talked about it before. I've sent in 17 books to CBCS. They got at the beginning of
No, we're here.
Oh, we're back.
We're back.
all right, I was going to say, all right. And
sorry, everything went dark, and I was like, well, I guess we're done. Good night, everybody.
Could have been us, right? It could have been us. We don't have the world's greatest internet connection.
It's a tornado again.
Oh my gosh.
More tornado weather over there?
We've had
a couple tornado alerts.
I mean, literally, we're
we
here.
were on the show with the phones.
And it is just whipping outside. Okay, and we're all looking for a funnel cloud going. Is that a funnel?
And
cloud?
our phones all started doing the,
Oh, that's right. That was.
Remember that? We're in the middle of the show.
Bad.
What's insane about that is living out here in Oklahoma, my mom would call all the time and say, "Oh my God, honey, I heard you guys are getting a tornado," and it's like, I don't know. And then over there on the East Coast, you guys are getting all the tornadoes.
I'm serious.
I was home for break or just visiting my family, and there was a tornado that touched down. I told them, I was like, I've been home for 15 days out of the last 5 years now, and we've had more tornadoes here on the East Coast than I've seen out there in the West.
A definite shift.
That's insane.
Growing up in this area, it never happened.
Yeah, we never had what you'd call extreme weather. Yeah, sure. Once in a while we get a
blizzard,
or blizzard, but not anything. When you start to get like to the tornado level,
that's nuts.
A buddy of mine, his house was destroyed on Long Beach Island by a tornado.
Yeah, I know. And you have to remember,
didn't get that.
You have to remember, New Jersey is
Pennsylvania. Macungie got hit when I lived back at home. They got hit really hard.
Yeah,
and a lot got destroyed.
It's really weird. I mean, and a few years ago, we actually had a tornado hit our parking lot and flipped a car over. I remember it was a weekend because my daughter and I actually got in the car to come see the flipped over car.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen when I was growing up, is what I remember. So.
Well, the weather's different now. I mean, it's a little bit different now.
So Kyle's joined us.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, because I live
in
Tornado Alley, which is where we have tornadoes every week. It's just a normal thing that we just kind of go out on the back porch and watch. But do you guys remember that deceased variant we tried to show earlier, and I had the wrong.
Yes. You want to go back to that?
Yeah, you guys want to show that again, and then we'll hit our break here in about 4 minutes. And
let's hit that again.
All right,
let's hit that again. So, all right, so we've got the deceased. Now I'm going to find it on my sheet.
That is fantastic.
Deceased number 1. There we go. Signed and remarked by Ken Hazer with the zombie Harley Quinn sketch. Suggested retail is $89.99, and we have it tonight $50. One of our 5-star books, and we have one at this price.
Deceased is just
And 62 left. He says Kyle is a huge Kevin Sorbo fan.
is he?
I don't know.
I don't know.
John used to
I
get-
shared a story last night on in stores this week about my ongoing blood feud with Kevin Sorbo.
You have a blood feud with
Yikes.
Kevin Sorbo?
Well, I have one. I don't know that he knows that it's happening.
I was going to say, did you not get the role you wanted?
Because we definitely want to hear that story. That
I can
sounds
tell it-
interesting.
That sounds
I
like
can
something
tell
that's
it
going to
really
break when we
quickly.
come back.
I'll tell it really quickly. I trolled him on Twitter when he decided to make God is Not Dead 2 by saying that he would be returning to his role as Hercules and losing to the
It's
Hulk as
dynamite.
Satan, or to the Rock as Satan. And then he tried to have me thrown out of a Comic-Con. So
Nice.
yeah,
That is a blood feud.
That is
deceased.
going
Yes. So
When we come back, we've got some really cool stuff.
We do.
I'm just kind of like cruising through the board here. When we come back, we have some really cool stuff. We've got a bunch of Dave level variants that in the books that came out this week for Dynamite. Dynamite has really sort of embraced the multiple cover variant thing, and that makes me very happy.
So, Kyle, you want to take us out to break?
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
You are watching Minute to Skim It on the Experience, so hello. All right, we've got lots of books to review for you guys today. And Hannah just basically showed up just the number ones and showed them to me, and I was like, oh, we have
just for the indies.
Just for the indies, yeah. I was like, we have got a lot to do.
And we're back with my buddy John and our buddy AR joining us from Oklahoma. And I just want to
They're
answer.
calling us Tornado Alley.
I know,
now.
right?
Yeah.
How crazy is that? So 62 left. He said he gave up on the NFL when Roman Gabriel left the Rams. And I want to remind everybody that Roman Gabriel played, I believe, 5 seasons for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm okay with that 62 lefty. So we have a couple of Dave Library Kids specials.
We have some specials for.
I
these
do have
are
a quick
sort
question
of-
for John, though.
Oh,
Before we
what's
get
your
into
question?
everything.
Go ahead, AR. What's your question?
So you were talking about Red Sonia a little earlier. I've been sitting on this one for a while. I read that new first issue of Red Sonia from Mirka and Dolfo. I absolutely loved it, but I kind of thought to myself as I was reading it, have I been missing out on Red Sonia now for all of these years? And since you said you've been reading Red Sonia for so long now, how did you feel about that issue? And what would you say? Because I don't think there's an omnibus or anything for it. Where would you suggest starting with Red Sonia? Because I'm sure there's a lot of good runs or your favorites.
That's
I
a
should
great
say.
question. That's an awesome question. I'm trying to think of. You know what? And this is going to be funny because I guess the short answer would be start at the beginning, but that doesn't that doesn't do any good, right?
There's a lot of beginnings too.
For the people that are super anal retentive, yes, start at the beginning. I don't want to set anybody off here, but where I generally recommend people, especially if maybe they know who Red Sonia is, but they're not aware the book is still being published, I recommend they start with Gail Simone and Walter Giovanni's run in like 2013, maybe. I'm not 100% right. 2013. That is like a quintessential snapshot of what Red Sonia is now. If you want to see what Red Sonia was sort of like in the 70s, then yeah, sure, grab something from Frank Thorne or whatever. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to, like dampen that fire. But I would tell anyone, you want to see what Red Sonia is like today. The new books that come out, I think they're, basically what Gail Simone and Walter Giovanni have done before have allowed Red Sonia to go in different directions. I don't know if we get Soniaversal without Gail fleshing out Red Sonia as much as she has.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have Soniaversal now. We have Red Sonia's superpowers, and I don't know if we would get that without sort of this, like almost like I'm trying to think we would put like comprehensive look at. And Gail mentioned this on a couple times on Twitter chats. She looked at Red Sonia and she's like, "Who is this person?" Right? Beyond just chainmail bikini, sword, bad attitude. Like everybody knew that part already. Like
right.
Barbarian, warrior, queen type. You really get to see a lot of who Red Sonia is and why she is the way she is. Sonia, why'd you punch that guy in the face? Well, and there's like a whole backstory, right? And I think Gail Simone and Walter Giovanni really sort of set that table, which allow later creators to do what they're doing now.
So Kyle's recommended the Amy Chu run, and Lefty says Frank Thorne's Red Sonia was defining. He was an artist. Start with the art. So there you go. Everybody jump in. And
I would not have any issue with either of those things.
Yes,
no pun intended. I would say, I'm trying to think of a lot of times when you say to someone start at the beginning, I don't know. I don't know what, off the top of my head, I don't know what the omnibus status is.
I was just going to say, so I looked it up. There is a complete Gail Simone Red Sonia omnibus, oversized hardcover edition through Dynamite. It's sold out on Dynamite, but for anyone watching that's interested as well, there is one that exists.
So Dave has jumped in. He agrees.
Now I got to go jump in the vault and see if we have any that didn't get sold.
Now I'm going to be looking around for it.
So Dave says, I agree, AR. You should start with Gail Simone, then work your way forward and back as you choose. That's good advice as well. And Dave, now that we know you're there, we have the Dave specials. And quite honestly, Dave, Nick did this specifically for you, although it's available to whoever claims it first. Go ahead, hit it.
This is the Library Kids segment.
The Library Kids segment.
This is Amazing Spider-Man 344. And this is, I believe this is the issue right before we get to, oh God, the name just jumped out of my head. Oh God. The name just jumped out of my head.
Cletus Clay. He's in a movie. I hear a small movie.
I know
this low, quiet actor Woody Harrelson is playing him.
Who is this Woody Harrelson you speak of?
But the price keeps dropping as John keeps flipping it back and forth nonchalantly.
So what do we got here? All right,
originally that was like what, a $500 book?
It was a $500 book.
So we have a Dave special. So really, it's more like a $40 book, but we have it tonight for $25 to anybody who wants to claim it.
First Cletus Cassidy.
I was going to say, I think that's first Cletus.
But we are calling it the Dave Library Kids Special, but available to anybody that wants to claim it. This was a last-minute add-on, so unfortunately, Kyle does not have an image of it. I mean, literally last minute.
Literally, like
Nick just handed it to us during the break.
Well, I think we've got.
I forgot that the movie opened up this weekend. I thought it was next week.
No,
well, originally it was October 15th. It got pushed back. And then Amy said, "Hey, Nick, why are these waiting till October 10th?"
Now, if we're being real, I think it was supposed to be in June.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
of last year.
Also a lot of pushing back movies, and then
Why
studios.
am I not paying attention around here?
She is the only one who pays
What?
attention around
I'm
here.
sorry, I missed that.
Amy
What?
said she's the only one who pays attention around here, and she's exactly right.
What did you say?
Because
I wasn't
we missed
paying
it.
attention. I'm sorry.
The studios that have platforms to release some of these things were sort of like, okay, we're just going to release them.
Right.
But some of the studios that maybe didn't have a platform to release, and to the best of my knowledge, in this country, Sony doesn't have a subscription platform to release this. I think they do.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe, but they don't here. So you've got this.
Which is why they sold Transylvania 4 to Amazon Prime without releasing it. So, but this movie this weekend will probably hit $1 billion. The last one did $800 million. This will probably be bigger even during COVID because it'll have legs and also Venom and Symbiote. I think it's got a chance.
And this brings us to our second Dave Library Kids special.
This book is.
So I can segue into that.
This is one of the coolest things. This is the issue before Silver Surfer becomes Carnage. And I got to tell you, man, these are books that are getting very hard to find in the wild. I know Rex doesn't like me to use that.
I think that's first Cosmic
but
Carnage.
It's the truth. These books are getting hard to find, and they're getting hard to find at a reasonable price.
So Amazing Spider-Man number 430, where Silver Surfer turns into Carnage, and $35 book, but our Dave special is $25 tonight for anybody who wants to claim it. But Dave, it's named in honor of you. So
well, I always, whenever I see Library Kid messages on my Instagram, I love when people reach out. I love the feedback when people tell me they want to see something, this, that, or whatever. And we talk about this all the time. If there's something you want to see, put it in the comments. Get one of us on social media. Email us. Rex, at some point, Kyle will throw up Rex's email. Books you're looking for. Maybe you're watching the show later.
Yes.
And your, prices are honored if the books are still here.
Yes.
You can always shoot Rex an email. I shoot Rex an email all the time to go look for stuff for me, which is a tremendous waste of his time because that's really not his job.
That's why you should bring me a sandwich. Okay. Instead of sending me pictures of it across Facebook Messenger. Oh, look at this great burger I made for myself. That's great, John. That's awesome. I'd like to have some burger too. I like burgers as well.
I might do a burger on Saturday at my parents' on French.
I'm going to try to get out there, like I said, but I can't guarantee
it's going to be 11
anything.
to 3. I'd love to see people out there. It's
Can you just save one for me? Bring it in on Monday?
I'm leftover food? I don't know. No.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Food snob. Leftover food. He doesn't do that. I apologize.
Hey, super quick, if anyone does care, so I ended up looking it up, that complete Gail Simone from Red Sonia, since it is sold out on Dynamite, the place where I buy hardcovers from, organicpricebooks.com, they have, it looks like a couple in stock for $55. Just saying, if anyone cares.
Appreciate that. I mean, definitely.
That's why AR is here. Someone's actually got to do the research and stuff.
Right, exactly.
Not everybody can Wayne and Garth for 2 hours around comic
Well, we
books.
can.
We can.
And we do quite well at it.
No, I mean, that's good information, though, because if we're going to say to people, hey, look, maybe this is where you should start, And then people need, well, wait a minute, why did you tell me that if there's no? And yeah, I mean, if you want to start slow, go to your local comic book store. You can find some back issues, like try a few, see if you like it. Hopefully it builds up some steam. I understand not everybody wants to maybe drop, $55 on an omnibus or whatever. Shoot over to your local comic book store. Some of the Red Sonja stuff is, basically like cover price.
So Dave has mentioned it, and it's a good segue since we've been talking about Red Sonja. Let's do the number 3 Jenny Frison Blood Red Ultra Limited cover.
Ooh, that's
This
really
is so nice.
Red Sonja number 3, high-end Jenny Frison Blood Red Ultra Limited cover. Suggested retail of $75, and we have it tonight for $19.73. The year Red Sonja first appeared.
There's only 50 of these
That were ever printed.
And we've talked about the single color type stuff, these blood red variants. It is just an absolute line work display that Jenny Frison does here.
She's an incredible artist too.
She is
insane. I mean,
and the line art just brings everything out. I mean, John and I are big fans, whether it's the blood
black
red,
and white,
black
or
and white,
red, or
emerald green, which is usually reserved for Green Hornet covers. Which sends John into a frenzy.
J. Scott Campbell did one for Jungle Girl, and it was amazing. If to just make the point that it should probably be for Green Hornet, obviously, but there is a variant of a Jungle Girl. I'm going to say maybe it's either number 1 or number 3, J. Scott Campbell, and it is done in metallic green ink, and this thing is gorgeous.
And we want to thank Walter Giovanni for joining us tonight.
There's superstar in the comments.
I know it's always great to have creators join our show. Wait, you can't see the cover. Hold on. It is Red Sonja number 3. Kyle, I'm not sure if you could get that image up for us, but I will attempt to hold it up. Hold on. Yeah. Gets in front of our lights is the problem.
Yeah, I just got a text too that we're going to try to get the images up, everybody.
Yeah, so there we go. There it is.
There you go. Thanks, bud.
So it is Red Sonja number 3, high-end Jenny Frison Blood Red Ultra Limited cover. Suggested retail of $75, and again we have it for one copy at this price for $19.73.
See, that's how quick people are, though.
And it's limited to 50.
Someone who's watching live just texted me and said there's no image.
Yeah.
Because it's a Gail Simone and Walter Giovanni book, everybody, wait, there's no image. I'm like, relax, give us a second, it's coming.
So
those people are more than welcome to submit resumes to the expprod@gmail.com.
I think we've Kyle, I think some of the people got spoiled.
So, AR, were you about to say something?
I can't remember if I was, but I was going to say that's an incredible cover.
That's why you fit in with us perfectly.
Yeah, he might as well just be here.
Oh, no, I do remember. That's you said it was limited to 50 too.
Yes. What's it limited to?
It's limited to 50.
Limited to 50, correct. You are correct, sir.
It seems, this is a general rule of thumb, most of the blood red covers seem to be limited to 50. A couple were limited to 25. One in particular comes to mind is Vampirella.
Right.
They did one that when I say this thing was saturated in blood red ink, I am not kidding. And I can see, I'm like, you limited it to 25 because you ran out of printer ink.
So, all right. So let's move. Let's see here. Let's move to Heroes Reborn, Marvel Double Action number 1, signed by Tom Seeley. So, suggested retail of $39.99, and we have it tonight for $19.61. The year that FF launched. So that's a nice one too. So talk about Tim Seeley, guys.
This is
wait. That's not the right one.
That's not the right one. We don't have the right.
Heroes Reborn. Let's see. Oh, maybe Kyle has the graphic.
Yeah,
You guys can't find it.
No.
I literally don't see that book here.
It's that one. Marvel Double Action.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry. Wow, this is
only one who pays attention.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's ever, this is Tim Seeley, Dan Jurgens. The interior art, I think, is by Dave Johnson.
And we got Lefty saying he's been collecting Invincible Red Sonia Frank Cho covers.
Frank Cho is sort of, I mean, he's almost at that, like, what I call like that gallery level. Like, I don't care what Frank Cho draws. Somebody said to me once, oh, Frank Cho makes everyone look like Linda Carter. Fine. I get zero problems with that. Here's my money, dude. Take it. I don't care what you do. Frank Cho, Adam Hughes, there's like 5 or 6 characters, and I kind of put them almost in the what I would call the Dave Stevens wing.
Right.
That they just sort of channel like the pinup energy from yesteryear and put it into modern comics. And I really don't care. There are tons of times where Frank Cho has done a cover of a book I don't read. And I'm like, well, I read it now, and into my pull list it goes, or, you know, it's hard. We had a discussion one time in a comic chat about who was Red Sonja's best artist. That's hard. That's really, really hard, because you start looking at some of the people, including Walter Giovanni, who's here.
Right.
You start looking at some of the people who've drawn Red Sonja. You know, that's a lengthy conversation. That's kind of like a 3-beer conversation at the bar. That's not like a 1-beer conversation.
You drink slow. 3 beers? We'll have to work on that. We still got to get to a brewery. So just to do a quick recap on this one. So this is the Heroes Reborn Marvel Double Action #1, signed by Tim Seeley. Suggested retail of $39.99, and we have it tonight for $19.61. But I agree with you. I mean, in terms of Red Sonja, I mean, the character has such depth. I mean, so that in and of itself leads to a lot of different directions you can move with it.
Well,
so clearly, AR, you got a lot of fans out there giving you all kinds of directions, and pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, Dynamite does platforms these female characters that once upon a time were not multidimensional.
Right.
Once upon a time they were, although that's not true. Vampirella was always multidimensional. You go back and you read like stuff from way back when, like, you know, the Warren universe, Harris, you go back and you read that stuff. They've always tried to make Vampirella more than, you know, an undead girl in a little
Right.
costume. Dynamite has sort of embraced that the last 20 years, maybe more, and they've sort of pushed these characters front and center, and they've pretty much done everything. I don't care if it's Betty Page, I don't care if it's Elvira, I don't care if it's the fictional characters.
Right.
You know, we've had great versions of these sort of, you know, well, did you just put her on the cover to sell the book? No, we put her on the cover to sell the book.
Right.
Because, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because and I sometimes I'll get this like in a Facebook chat room, like, oh man, you know, you just have a girl on the cover. Well, first of all, the title of the book is Jungle Girl, so who did you expect to be on the cover? And second of all, the reason high-level creators work on these characters is there's room to maneuver. You know what I mean? I think they talk about what's really hard to write. Batman, Superman. These things have these massive, rich histories, and that's like a structure. And then, of course, you've got the publisher, like, you don't do this, you don't do that. You know, Nick has a very short list of no-nos, and, you know, creators are able to sort of, you know, go nuts.
Well, 62 Lefty says that's tough. Way too many great artists have drawn Red Sonja, which I would agree with as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't do that. I mean, no, you know, like I said, Walter Giovanni's here. And I don't know if in like a podcast or like, you know, like a certain period of time, I can definitively say who I think is. I think it's okay to say who's your favorite Red Sonja artist.
Yeah.
One of the things I learned with food podcasts was the same thing. I don't want to tell you definitively what the best cheeseburger is, because everybody's got different tastes. I'll tell you the one I like, and you can go and check it out. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. And
far, I've liked every one you've posted.
And I'll say the same thing with comics. I don't know who the best Batman writer is. I'm not qualified to say who's the best Spider-Man artist. I'll tell you what I like. You go check it out. And I think AR and a lot of the YouTube shows, that's what they do.
Right.
They spotlight something that they like, that catches their eye, that's trendy, and they tell you, "Hey, look, this is on trend right now. Check it out."
Right.
Because people don't see everything.
So you had picked up the FF book, so we might as well go to that one. Fantastic Four #24. Signing gold by Donnie Cates.
This is signing
Nice.
gold by Donnie Cates.
Is that the newest run? Or
It's ironic that this book is signed in gold by Donnie Cates because everything the guy touches turns to gold.
What did you say, Aaron?
when? What volume was he on?
This is Nexus War. This was, I think, is this from Fortnite? This was Arthur Adams' cover. This is the second printing variant signed in gold. I am not sure exactly which volume this is.
Suggested retail of $89.99.
Yeah, this came out like last year.
And we have it tonight for $19.61. And Walter Giovanni says he votes for Mel Ruby as his favorite Paul Renaud for covers.
Oh wow!
So there you go. So
Walter, what do you mean? I just picked my Indiegogo tier as your covers. I picked a black and white line art cover for my.
Well, he does not agree with you.
Tier. I know he doesn't.
Which is almost worth the price of admission. I gotta say.
I was gonna say, right? That makes it what a shock.
Oh man, I love that.
That's a perfect example, right? Someone would say Walter Giovanni's my favorite Red Sonia artist, and Walter will turn around and say, "No, I think that." You know what I mean?
Right.
This is why I hate to say best, because it's totally subjective. What people like, what people don't like. It's always good to find out who your favorite is, who somebody else's favorite is, and then you can sort of,
All right, so let's do a Death of Wolverine. What do you think?
Wolverine dies like every year. It's weird. The only character that wearies me more than Batman is Wolverine. It's endless with his with his drama and his stories, and God forbid he loves a woman. You know that woman's.
You know what's
killed.
coming on the next show, right?
I know.
A ton of Wolverine, bud.
We had a conversation.
Hey, Wolverine's awesome.
If Wolverine likes a woman, she's either going to be dead or turn evil. Be some kind of hideous ninja cyborg thing.
That's true.
It's endless. The guy hasn't gotten over his trauma from 200 years ago when he was like a little farm kid that caught a woman. Please stop.
So, Death of Wolverine, Logan Legacy #1, signed by Charles Soule. We have it for $29.99 tonight. We have one at this price.
Yeah, this is. Someone put the greatest X-Man ever. Who's typing this stuff?
Hey, I'd have to say he's
Not
probably
you.
my favorite.
Not me.
Not me.
Because we know you wouldn't say that.
The greatest X-Men ever is Cyclops. It's been all downhill from there.
All right. So I think the one that we have up, though, is actually the Death of Wolverine #1, M&M Comics, Alamo City Comic-Con, exclusive variant signed by Terry and Rachel Dotson. And we have two of these at $49.99. And the Dotsons, obviously, I love their work.
I'll tell you what I really love about this book is that it's getting harder and harder to find. They become regionalized, like con variants. This is just something that was recently brought to my attention. Con variants can be regionalized, right? So let's just say, New York Comic Con has a variant. It might be harder to find that variant in Phoenix than it is in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because these things don't, I think most of these are probably sold at the con or in and around shops at the con. So if you're a collector from, across the country or whatever, it's going to be more difficult for you to find that book. And I did not realize that until they were discussing it on Bat in the Sun, of all things. If anybody has watched that, Bat in the Sun is like one of my favorite sort of little Patreon project things to support. They do a bunch of fan films or whatever. But they were talking about, and the owner and his father own a comic book store, and they talk about how happy they are when they get something in from Chicago, or I think we had a couple of years ago, we had variants from Emerald City Comic Con, and they were very cool. They all had the subtle green Emerald City logo. And, they were glad to see those come in. And he's down in Southern California. So
since we know now that John is a huge Wolverine fan, we're going to do the next one.
Honestly, the best X-Man.
I would say so. I would say so, without a
What
shadow
would
of
be
a
the best
doubt.
number of Alpha Flight? Come on.
You know, I'd like to see that Batman Wolverine crossover
Oh.
signed by
I'm
John.
calling out that week.
Death Wolverine, Logan Legacy #1, signed by Charles Soule. We have that one available. We only have one at $29.99.
That's cool. That's cool.
And next week we'll have nothing but Wolverine and Batman in honor of John.
I hope you and Amy enjoy the show. There is we've talked about this before. We continue to mention it. Getting signatures isn't the easiest thing in the world.
No, not anymore. Well, it wasn't before.
It
but
wasn't
now
before
yeah.
because you had to pack it, sign it, pay for the return shipping. There's a lot of moving parts to that sort of thing. We've got these signed books tonight really at like discounted prices because we're sort of trying to get these things back out into the, into the hands of collectors, put some energy back into the, collector community. Yeah.
It's been hard. I mean, it's been hard for everybody.
If you're looking for a signature from a particular artist, it's going to be hard for you to find it at a lower price than we're offering here.
Yeah, I mean, when you take into account some of the prices that we have, just shipping and handling and all of that stuff back and forth. Yeah. Unfortunately, cons we're all hoping that it's gonna get back to normal at some point if whatever normal is these days.
Well, on Monday we had a Mark Waid book.
Yeah.
Right. Have you ever seen a line at even a moderate sized con to get something signed by Mark Waid?
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, that is an investment in time and duration.
And not to say that when you go to a con, that you don't meet one of the creators that happen to be your favorites, but if you spend all of your time doing that, waiting in lines, how much else are you going to be?
You really want to sort of make the most of your time. There.
Yeah, I mean it's an experience, but it may not be the most efficient use of your time. So
we're gonna do another slab book.
Go ahead,
hit it. This Maestro book.
That's why when I went to Dallas Fan Expo, I didn't really get a whole bunch of stuff signed because I kind of felt that way. I was like, well, I'm not going to wait in line for this, or I'm not going to stand here for that. I want to I'm not going to be here all day because I drove down to Dallas, but I want to, experience it. What's up?
That's like the Hall H crowd, right? They decide that they want to see Doctor Who, and that's their con. They start waiting in line. They've got, people that wait in line for them. They've got coolers. They've got sleeping bags. They are getting into Hall H come hell or high water. And that's fine. That's totally great. But there's a massive amount of con going on around you.
There's a bunch of other stuff going on.
I've had people tell me, I went to Comic-Con and I saw James Bond and I saw a bunch of food trucks when we went to get food to eat. And that's like the extent of their Comic-Con experience. And I'm like,
I'm okay with food trucks.
I love food trucks. But
I know what you're saying. You have to leave the convention room floor to get to the food truck.
Yeah,
there's believe me.
I live in New Jersey. If I'm going to travel across this country, go to San Diego Comic-Con, which is an expense because I don't go cheap. It's like a major investment of time and money for me.
It really is.
I am not going to wait, with no disrespect to any creator at all, but I am not going to sit and wait for 3 days to get like one glimpse of Robert Downey Jr. waving to people with a cup of coffee in his hand. That's I'm not going to do that.
So, look at the time. You know what? Let's hit that when we come back from break.
Oh, it's break time. Right?
It is break time. So let's. We'll be right back.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
I am back. Rex was
I'm back.
the premises. Oh, he's
I'm
back.
sorry, I'm back.
Sorry, I was just about to jump in.
Rex was Wolverined out of the show because that ain't happening.
Nothing but Batman and Wolverine next week, people.
Batverine.
Be sure to tune in if you're a Batman fan or a Wolverines fan.
Batverine.
That is John's favorite.
When Marvel and DC did their mashup universe, isn't that where they mashed up and they had like Wolverbat or Batverine or something?
Oh, we're finding that issue. We're finding that issue. And I'm gonna bring it to you, people. Okay, just because I love watching John suffer. Look,
man.
He's grown it already. I haven't even found the book yet, buddy.
It pains me. I can't remember the name of that universe they created, but
Oh, I'm gonna look it up tomorrow. Don't you worry, my
no.
friend. You want to hit that Maestro?
Maybe AR remembers the name of it, but
Hey, AR.
I'll look it up right now.
Yeah, look it up, buddy. Look it up.
When
for
I
us.
tell you that this was a mistake for both Marvel and DC, I don't think
These
so,
were
John.
characters
that nobody liked.
I don't think so, John. I beg to differ.
From what it looks
Maestro
like,
number two.
So, all right. So we got Maestro number 2, variant cover.
I'm in the minority. I think this is the best version of the Hulk. There have
CG
been multiple versions of the Hulk. Gray Hulk.
So here, let me hold it up. So, all right. So this is Maestro number 2, variant cover, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.6. So for those of us that may be watching the show for the first time, all of our CGC graded books are guaranteed because we only have one at this one of these available tonight.
Yeah.
Suggested retail of $89.99, and tonight we have it for $40. So when we bring the slab books to you, we generally only have one. Every now and again, we might have a couple.
It's
But
an amazing price for that book.
yeah, and when you claim it, you're guaranteed, and in this case, you're guaranteed 9.6. Other than older issues, bronze or silver, what you see is going to be either a 9.6 or a 9.8. And we touched on it briefly about CGC being backed up. If you're a collector of graded books, CGC slab books, this is probably the most economical way you can get your hands on it with a guaranteed grade, so you're not sending a book in. Because I would say, and I don't know this, okay, I'm just guessing, I'm making this up in my own head, but I would say, which is most of our show, we just make it up. I would say 95% of the people that send a book in are always going to be disappointed with the grade.
I don't know if it's that high. I know there's a fair amount.
You've just guaranteed the next month is going to be nothing but Wolverine and Batman.
I just don't know if it's that bad. I don't want to.
I'm making it up, so I can make up whatever I want to make up.
I will say this: 95% of the people have had the same experience at least once.
Well, what I know
they've
is
gotten a book, they've paid for a book, they're positive it's this number, and it is not when it comes back, or they think the signature is legitimate. And that yellow sticker is not on that slab when it comes back.
It's 95%, John. I plucked that number right out of my skull, and we're sticking with that, unless you have actual facts.
No.
Okay, then we're good. Okay, I'm a little afraid AR's going to actually look it up because he does come to us with actual facts.
Look stuff up. We would need AR for that.
I know. Yeah, that one I don't want you to look up.
I was gonna say, if we're looking things up here, I have the Wolverine Batman crossover and that Fantastic Four 24 issue from before. So real quick with the Fantastic Four, what that is the Nexus War. That just includes like a bonus Thor story. So it is a Fantastic Four issue, but the bonus story is written by Donnie Cates, if anyone was interested.
Thank you for looking that up. And that was Fantastic Four number 24. Signed in gold by
He's going to submit an invoice for research.
Donnie Cates, right?
But now we're on to the important one. Wolverine and Batman combined to create Dark Claw.
Yes.
Oh, Dark Claw, that was.
And I mean, the first sentence here says it all. When everyone's favorite, and by everyone, it's definitely John's favorite superheroes and villains have been smashed together, it creates this new character. That's the first sentence, and it says John's name right in there.
John wakes up in a cold sweat over that one.
Oh, I can't. My God. It was all downhill after Adam West. It was all downhill.
You know, I heard that we're doing a crossover with Green Hornet and Batman and Wolverine.
No, well, the Green Hornet Batman crossover.
I'm gonna fire off an email to Nick saying we should do this.
All right, we're gonna call it the Dark Green Claw.
I like it. I like it. I like it. We're doing it.
No, we are not.
Why not?
We are not.
We are. You're gonna have to bribe me with food, which I have not received any of yet.
No,
So
I'm just gonna call Ridgeway or whatever the company is that has the rights to Green Hornet. Do not approve this under any circumstance.
You're going to get an email. Don't listen to it.
That's great.
Disregard the man fondling the comics. What do you got there?
This is beautiful. This is Lucio Perilla cover.
Oh, I love his
9/8.
Yeah.
I mean, just amazing here. I don't know if we have the images, but maybe you want to hold this up.
Oh, here.
It is it's probably one of the single most beautiful renderings of Vampirella I've seen. And
His
like I
artwork's
said, I've
crazy.
been reading Vampirella for a long time. You know, a lot of artists
There we
have
go.
really taken
Wow.
big swings and hit home runs. This particular image is
So, Vengeance of Vampirella, number 12.
number 12.
CGC graded, a Lucio Perillo cover. As we said, love his art. Guaranteed 9.8. So, suggested retail of $89.99. And tonight we have it for $52 for 52 years of Vampirella.
The Tom Snagowski run.
When John was a young man.
Michael St. Marie is doing the interior art. We're still doing Vengeance. We're still in Vengeance of Vampirella right now. I cannot say enough about Tom Snagowski as a Vampirella creator.
Right.
And that's, there have been, Dynamite's been fortunate. They've been blessed to have, a significant number of good writers work on Vampirella. We've had like Nancy Collins. We've had great takes on Vampirella. That particular image is that's almost like a gallery image. And I mean like art gallery type image.
Right.
I mean, Lucio Perillo is that guy.
Yeah.
But that particular image is if you're a Vampirella fan, and at that price, 9.8, there's really no thought process there.
Guaranteed 9.8. And Dave picked up the vegan version right here on the XP. So
He did. He
is a big fan of the non-trade
Trade
dress. To trade undress.
Trade
I like
undress.
that. So he's a man who knows his stuff when it comes to these types of covers. So what do we want to move to next, guys? Oh, I got one.
We have one or something?
I do know. No, I got one. We're gonna do a remark alert. We're gonna do Batman, Little Gotham number 4, signed and remarked by Ken Hazer with the Joker's daughter's sketch.
Man, these Ken Hazer remarks are they're all so cool. Everyone that we've been putting up.
And his ability to kind of, that has what of a Scotty Young sort of flair to it. I mean, he just can jump to different styles.
I don't know if we've seen anyone as versatile doing covers or remarks as Ken is. I really don't. I mean, we've seen him channel Disney. We've seen him travel the Disney style, the
Uncle
Archie
Scrooge,
style,
Alien.
I mean,
Predator.
This is a guy that literally in the same day will do Betty from Betty and Veronica, and then he'll turn around and he'll do this really cool sort of Predator pulling someone's head off their body thing in that style.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just crazy that he has the ability almost to like click, like just set a selector switch. Like, okay, today I'm doing Scotty Young, and we get this.
So Batman, Little Gotham number 4, signed and remarked by Ken Hazer with a Joker's daughter sketch. Suggested retail of $89.99, and we have the one available tonight for $75. So I had to get a Batman title in there.
No, something. I mean, all jokes aside, I mean, Batman's.
Well, you're a Ken Hazer fan.
I'm a Ken Hazer fan, but
and Batman's not actually on the cover.
Batman, thank God. But Batman is. I would say it's generally accepted he's the most popular comic book character in the world.
I would say so.
I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of argument there.
You can make an argument with a few other characters.
I was going to say, I know the Spider-Man fans, they really almost immediately
but you have these established sort of icons. It's Superman, Batman, Spider-Man.
They're selling a lot of books. Let's put it that way. When you're down here with me, like in DC's universe, I'm like a Green Lantern fan. Kid, they're like, that's nice, kid.
Wish they could make a good movie out of that.
Well, you know what? I can't really complain though, because for years I looked for stuff, and then Jeff Johns hit, and Jeff Johns powered that sort of DC Spectrum War pre, during, and after universe. They gave that a lot of run. They gave that a lot of play.
You know what I thought was funny was just recently the Ryan Reynolds movie shot up to the top 10 on Netflix.
This makes me question people who are watching.
They're bored. They're bored, dude. You've watched
Green
everything. We've
Lantern
all been trapped indoors. We've watched everything. You're up at 3 a.m. trying to catch a new episode of What If.
Well, that's different.
Oh, that's different, he says.
Ryan Reynolds, by his own admission, should never done that movie.
Listen, I gotta agree with that. I mean,
he says it right in the
yeah.
post-credit scenes of Deadpool.
Yep.
Like,
I was gonna say, I think he cracks jokes on it.
I know. I'm a huge Ryan Reynolds fan. I mean, but I think that his role in, what was it, Blade 2 or was it Blade 3? Which one? Which Blade? It was Blade 3.
He played,
I think it's 3.
Is it Blade 3?
I think it was Blade 3, right, AR?
I think it's Blade 3.
Yeah, because 2 was decent. 3 was. I can only see so many vampires blow up. I mean,
I think they sort of. It almost seems to me that last Blade movie was sort of moving almost into, they were trying to platform something new,
right?
Because you had Jessica Biel as, was it Abigail Helsing? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Ryan
Abigail.
Reynolds. They sort of almost looked like they were trying to move this more into like the Blade universe, but not centered on Blade.
Right, I agree.
Because there's a whole bunch of these vampire character hunters. Same with Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
There's this buzz, and I honestly think it's just buzz. I really do. Werewolf by Night is like, if you read that comic, that's like a moment in time. That's like that 70s horror, Mike Plug art kind of encapsulated. I don't know if there's a massive audience for Werewolf by Night in 2021. I'm not 100% sure there's a massive audience for Blade, which was the kind of top draw in that section of the universe.
I think
we're getting a Morbius
we've talked
TV show, though, right?
Yeah, I think
Morbius is the movie.
Is it the movie?
Morbius is a movie. Sony's doing it, so we're going to see how that goes.
I mean, Blade,
we'll see how that goes.
Said with confidence, AR. Blade.
Hey, they killed it on Spider-Man. Huge fan of that.
Well, I think Blade surprised everyone, especially the big studios, that something that was not Superman or Batman or Spider-Man.
Well, I think you had Wesley Snipes when you had a movie star.
Yeah.
You had a legit box office star saying, I'm going to do this. I think if you had a lesser-known actor, I don't know if there's a Blade 2.
You might be right.
That might have just been something in your red box that, you got there late, so that's what you're stuck with.
But it established that a movie that was not necessarily a mainstream character could carry, and I don't disagree. I mean, Wesley Snipes.
I think that's exactly right. Blade was a great indicator of, look, the Marvel Universe just isn't Spider-Man.
Right.
And you know what I mean? I don't know if you get the rush to platform so many other characters. Like we said, we're going to have like a Morbius movie.
Right.
Moon Knight. I don't know if, like we see a Moon Knight movie, show, whatever they do. You know what I mean? I don't know if we see these things without proof, like definitive financial proof that there's a market for this. There's an audience for this. People will line up to see Blade, to see.
I know Moon Knight's already set for a Disney Plus show. So is Blade. But on my side of things, I've actually talked to a lot of people who are really hyped for Moon Knight. I think Moon Knight will be cool. I think people are really hyped up for it, but there's not a huge audience. I don't know. There's just not a lot of stuff with Moon Knight.
No, I agree. Moon Knight is one of those things that has a small but loyal fan base.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, Marvel tries Moon Knight. They'll put him in a book. Sometimes it's his own. Sometimes it's a storyline, and his people show up.
Well, I think,
but I don't
Dave
think
just brought up a very good point. I mean, Dave out of Cali, he says, remember, there wasn't an audience for Guardians of the Galaxy either until it was a hit. So
You know what?
I can agree with that too.
Yeah, I would too.
I've said this before on a comics podcast I was a guest on a couple of years ago. When I heard they were doing Guardians of the Galaxy, and I heard they were doing the version with the tree and the raccoon, I was like, "This is ego. They've lost their mind. They've done the Avengers and they've done these movies, but it worked.
Yeah, it did.
It worked again and again. And I guess we're getting us Guardians of the Galaxy. Whatever take they're going to do with,
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised too. I was like, Guardians of the Galaxy.
But again, they got the right people, though.
I would agree with that.
You know
as
what
well.
I mean?
Yes.
They got Chris Pratt.
Casting.
Their casting is on point every time.
Star-Lord, you know what I mean?
Say that again, AR?
Their casting is on point every time.
Yeah, it
Marvel,
is. It is.
Whoever, even if it's people we've never heard of, and the audience, not the audience, but everybody in comment sections is like, why would they pick this person? Like, who is this? It's going to be perfect. They're picking them for a reason. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was going to work, but then it ended up working. I mean, Vin Diesel, and
and Batista.
And then we had
just grunting. He was just grunting. I mean,
Dave Batista. I mean, I don't know how many people watching the show are pro wrestling fans. Dave Batista's a huge pro wrestling draw in his day, but I don't know if people saw him with like acting chops and like a
he's
Marvel
been surprisingly
movie,
good. I mean, even away from Guardians of the Galaxy, I think he's really established.
When
his
he's
career.
gotten camera time, even in these little scenes like in Avengers Endgame or Infinity War, when he's gotten his camera time, he's done really well.
Well, I think
for a guy that's not an actor,
I think when you look at professional wrestling, so much of it is performance. So it isn't a huge step for these guys to step in the world of acting, whatever. Not everybody makes it, but I think Dave Batista,
you've seen for a while now guys from The Rock, John Cena, guys who are successful draws in pro wrestling have sort of migrated over. And talking about Blade 2, Blade 3, Triple H, Paul Levesque was.
Oh yeah, he was in that. I forgot about that completely.
Yeah. By his own admission, he apologizes. He doesn't think he did a very good job. Critics do not think he did a very good job, but he was in the movie.
It wasn't horrible.
No, I think it was
good.
He didn't have a great role. Let's be honest. He was like big muscular vampire dude. So it's not like he had a fleshed out character.
Well, they always end up starting that way. I mean, because they cross over from the world of pro wrestling into they're always going to play that.
Plus, I think it's a visual thing. When you're 6'4", 270 pounds, and built like a linebacker,
massive.
I think it's hard for people to see you as a
right. Performing
Shakespeare or Gilbert Sullivan. I just don't see that.
Gilbert Sullivan.
I just don't see that.
Actually, I kind of want to see that now. I think that'd be interesting.
Vince McMahon, hi. We're Rex and John from Rex and John's Collectibles. We'd like to see.
Pestering. I leave in your hands. You're the expert. It's very effective.
That's how I got here.
Yeah, right. All right, so let's do the cheapest remark I think we've ever had. Grumpy Cat number 1, signed and remarked by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $59.99, and we've got it tonight for $10.
Wow!
I believe that our friend Ron is on lockdown. His wife has prohibited him to watch our show on the computer.
Somebody buy it for Ron.
Somebody buy it for Ron and gift it to him, or make an exchange or something since he can't watch the show. Ron, when you go to work, you can watch the tape of this. We'll keep it available for you if somebody doesn't pick it up tonight. So that's got to be one of the cheapest remarks we've ever had. And again, Ken Hazer, we talked about his ability to adapt to different styles. It's just absolutely amazing. So, all right, let's see. What else we got here that we haven't covered? Should we do the Spider-Man, the Black Cat Strikes number 1? Ooh, that's a good price too. Yeah, let's do that.
It's a really good price. It's a really nice book. It's sort of got the it's the Gamerverse variant cover, which is you know what I mean. People went nuts for this. This is one of the things I like to talk about on social media. Is a good barometer for this. The day like a new skin for Spider-Man drops in his game, it's like the universe comes to a stop on social media.
So
the Gamerverse variants were very popular.
So this we have at a great price. Spider-Man, the Black Cat Strikes number 1. Signed by Dennis Hopeless Hallam. Suggested retail of $49.99, but tonight we have the one available for $19.62 for the year Spider-Man launched. An amazing.
This is like a serious chase book. These Gamerverse variants. Someone, if you're a Spider-Man fan or collector, somebody should probably pull the trigger on that. That's about as low as you're going to see that book.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
My guess is $20 is what the book costs without the signature.
So that's available, and we have one available at that price, $19.62.
That's crazy.
Let's do. Ooh, here's a good.
It looks like it's number 2 is at 2 out of 35.
Let's
I believe.
I'll have Vanna White check for me. Flip that tile.
Flip the tile. No,
It looks like it's right underneath.
Copies of this. This is number 2.
Yep.
I was gonna say right underneath the signature.
Yep, number 2 of 25. You said
35.
35. So number 2 of 35. We have the one available tonight at $19.
And again, at that price, even if the book isn't signed, at 35 copies, a Spider-Man book for $19.
With the variant cover, yep. So let's see. Ooh, let's do this one. True Believers, Deadpool number 1. A reprint of New Mutants number 98, signed in blood red by co-creator Fabian Nicieza.
Cool.
Deadpool, you've got to be one of my favorite characters, and certainly Ryan Reynolds only helped with that. So suggested retail of $59.99, and tonight we have it for $29.99 introductory price. And we have one available at that price. So we got Rad Dad Reviews. What's up? One of your boys, AR.
He actually.
Thanks for joining us.
Let's take a quick second. We want to thank everybody for joining us.
Absolutely.
I mean, AR has to join us because otherwise we have no information. But, but everyone that joins us, whether it's the first time or people that come in every week or whatever, we always appreciate that people take their time to join us.
We do.
People could be doing other stuff. You know what I mean? They're taking the time out to join us. We try to bring you books at the best possible price we can. We try to make it entertaining. We always have a guest who actually knows stuff. Thankfully, Amy's back there too.
So John and I continue to do what we do.
To hopped up on all
just
this.
make stuff up.
Hopped up on all this Coke coffee.
I know. I gotta try that. I've never tried that. But
I don't know about that.
If you enjoy the show, do us a favor. Hit thumbs up, depending on what platform you're viewing this from.
Follow,
yeah, definitely hit the sub button. Follow him on Instagram.
Yes, and
100%.
definitely check out AR's YouTube channel as well. Full of great information and content.
Hopefully, before we leave, we can get a link up there.
Jerry, before we check out of here, if you could throw up AR's YouTube channel link. But very informative, unlike me and John. He actually does research.
We go out of our way to get people that are significantly better than us so we can continue to not be that good. If we didn't get these people, we would actually have to prepare.
I'm not actually terribly thrilled with the way John presented it, but it is essentially true and factual what he just said. But I probably would have said it in a different way, but whatever.
Well, the guests we get, whether it's AR, whether it's Robbie, we get guests, people who join us that can really make like a contribution other than just, here we are with our books and you know what I mean? People need context for these things.
And AR specifically because he's from the area, lover of cheesesteaks and a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Robbie, I love Robbie, but this whole Dallas Cowboy thing is really.
The whole NFL Red Zone is.
Yeah, that really throws me off with him.
I know, right? I was shocked. He just had that big Cowboy star right there on his sweatshirt, and I'm watching it, and I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I couldn't help myself, and I'm like, Robbie, what's up with that? And Robbie laid down the 411 that he is a huge Dallas Cowboy fan. I know they are. I'm very disappointed as well. I cried a little bit on the inside after the show.
This is a book we have to talk about.
Oh, let's do it.
It's Punchline number 1. This is immediately after the Joker War. This is Mirka Andolfo.
Signed by James Tinian.
Yeah, signed by James Tinian. Yasmin Putri does the cover. And I got to tell you, it is just so... I always love mirror images in comics, right? And this isn't quite a mirror image, but when the image goes up, you'll see what I mean. It's sort of like, not quite yin and yang, but it's just a really good job she does on the cover. And this, we've talked about this before. We had a Ken Hazer remark for Punchline.
Right.
Punchline is destined for bigger things. She'll wind up appear in a show or a movie or a cartoon or something. And this is the time to get in on some of her stuff.
And Jerry's got the price up. Suggested retail of $39.99. But tonight we have it for $27 for Detective Number 27, and we have one available at this price.
This will wind up if it's not already a chase book, this will wind up being a chase book. The second somebody says, "Oh, we're doing like another Suicide Squad with Punchline this time," or you can almost, people who know comics a little bit, know movies a little bit, you can see the landscape of how these things are. Right? They grab a character from, I don't want to say obscurity, but maybe they're not in the spotlight, and the back issues go up, and then they're really hard to find, and then people are complaining because they can't find the book at the price it was a year ago. I tend to say this a lot. If you see us have a book here with a reasonably low price and you're thinking of buying it, pull the trigger, because we will not be offering it more reasonably the next time. Let's just say 6 months from now we have Punchline number 1 again. It probably will be $27.
Right.
So with that book as well, that is just a one shot, but that is Punchline's origin story. So not only is it her origin, her only solo story right now, at least I'm pretty sure it's her only solo.
Yeah.
It's signed by Tynion, and I'm almost positive Tynion also created that character. So in the grand scheme of it, long-term hold, I think that's a fantastic book. Obviously outside of her first appearance, but origin story plus signed by the creator writer of it, it's potentially big book down the line, honestly.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well,
agree
I'll
with
tell
that.
you what the Joker thing kind of reminds me of, right? The way the Joker, we'll call it subverse in Batman, Harley Quinn, and some of these other characters, it almost reminds me of when Magneto stepped away from the Avengers, but then you had all these sort of characters in his little orbit.
Right.
Very popular. Sometimes the books get hard to find. They start with one-shots or miniseries. Years down the line, you see them in cartoons and movies.
Yep.
And then you want to go and get the back issues. You want to get a first appearance or second appearance. And it's pricey.
Right. So, wow. Look at that. 2 hours passes quickly.
Are we done already?
Almost. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I want to
Thank you.
thank our
Thank you,
special
AR.
guest, AR
Yeah,
Comics,
thank you.
for joining us.
Thank you for having
AR,
me.
Are we doing your show on Friday, I think?
Yes, sir.
At 5 p.m. Eastern.
I
And
want to thank Walt Giovanni for joining us. I mean,
thank you, Walt
Walter,
Giovanni.
I
It's always
appreciate,
great.
you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
seriously.
It's always great to
it's
have
not like he
a
doesn't have
creator.
better stuff to do.
Yeah, right. It's always
How
great
much,
to have a
sir?
creator join us. We appreciate that. And of course, we appreciate our regular viewers. Anybody new? My buddy John, as
Gracie
always,
the
thank you.
Cosplayer. Thank you. She's been.
Thank you.
I think she's been watching on Twitter, actually.
Appreciate that.
We've got a bunch of books with her coming up. One of the Kickstarter tiers and a few other variants and things that are coming out.
So we have original art on Friday with Nick from 7 to 8. My buddy John, he'll be back next week, Monday and Wednesday, and then we'll be on AR show at 5 p.m. Eastern on Friday.
Absolutely.
Again, thanks everybody for joining us. We really do appreciate it, and we'll see everybody later.